We have such a very
Main thing is that we're here today for a very important piece of legislation which simply honors all the victims of terrorism, whether they be military or civilian. And to come about this, why we're here, is because of what it took through the years to make this flag. This flag was initiated in 1995. In 2005, it was finished in the concept in which it is. In order to get here, we had to be recognized by people from different countries for the fact that this flag is flown in the Mideast, the only anti-terrorism flag flown in the Mideast. That is, before we did the rally, it was given to the Prime Minister of England. It's been given to the Pope, the President of the United States, various legislators at both state and federal levels, people who are outstanding in their community for helping others, definitely for those who try to help the people who cleaned up the 9/11 ground zero. The effort to get this done, to finally do a rally, which was absolutely incredible, was three of the legislators that were at this rally. One of them stated, Andrew Ray's, that we have to take this to the other persons who handle legislation in New York, and I thought that was incredible. On behalf of Senator Maltese, he had a veteran of the Vietnam War who made a statement that just was absolutely outstanding on behalf of the senator. And of course, stepping right in line, who has helped all those people at Ground Zero to try to get better benefits. Of course, Jonathan Beng. These are incredible people. But really today, which is magnanimous, we have John Ferrazzo here, who is an absolute outstanding advocate and then fighting at the federal government to get money for those who cleaned up Ground Zero, and is on his way to making history with doing something else with conservation and the way we take care of our animal and plant life. This is truly amazing for me to be up here with these people. These are the leaders. I personally have to thank each and every one that support this bill, because as leaders, they will give this to the people that have nowhere to go to get it. People are looking for closure. I've talked to over 16,000 people on this flag in 4 years. A number of all kinds of people in different states. This is going to happen. There should be no reason why we shouldn't make it. It costs nothing unless somebody wants to get it for the area where they live in, the municipalities. Be deeply honored first for our leading senator to speak, who was here on this issue and who has sponsored this bill, Senator Sherford Maltese.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you. I want to start, first of all, by commending Ron James. Ron, come over on the side here so they can see you. Ron has dedicated a good part of his life in these recent years to advocating the flying and the display and the honoring of this flag. It was his initial idea, and it's something he should be commended for. I certainly want to commend my legislative colleagues for coming forward and advocating the passage of the bill. We're going to be just been discussing it, and we're going to try to pass it in the Senate and maybe have a friendly rivalry as to what house passes it first. I think what we can't forget is missing an attack on our nation. This is a flag that tells us that we have to commemorate, that we have to remember, and that we shall never forget. That attack, I think, reading what and speaking with Ron and the other advocates, the fact of the woman and the child, indicating our vulnerability to attack and the fact that it was innocents that were killed. We were not in a state of war, and these were terrorists that killed these people. So missing an attack on our nation tells us we should remember. The bill is not mandatory, but it is something that should be encouraged, and we know from speaking to our law enforcement people, we know from speaking to some of our government officials, that it is a gesture, but a very significant, important gesture, and we're hoping that more and more of the groups across this country and our outposts across the world will fly this flag. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Senator Maltese. In order to make any bill become law, we're honored to have the other half representing the New York State Assembly, The Honorable Jonathan Bing.
Thank you, Ron. And as Sir mentioned, this is really a testimonial to Ron James and what he has done in terms of moving this issue forward in New York. The issue that we are here discussing today is something that I've been involved with for many years. In the wake of 9/11, I was asked to coordinate the American Bar Association, Federal Emergency Management Agency's Disaster Legal Services Program. And in the wake of 9/11, I put together a panel of about 250 lawyers that provided free legal services to about 1,000 New Yorkers affected by 9/11. And a lot of people that I talked to during that process were people who not only lost loved ones, but people who were relatives or friends of people whose remains and whose have never been found in the rubble of the World Trade Center. Those are the people that we are here thinking about today and trying to advance legislation on their behalf. As was also mentioned in the years after 9/11, after I was elected to the Assembly, I authored the legislation that expanded the statute of limitations for claims related to 9/11 cleanup workers before the Workers' Compensation Board. That's how I got to know John Strazo and many of his advocates during that process, making sure that the individuals who helped rebuild New York and sacrificed their own health, as John did, and would do it again, even though they know that they would sacrifice their own health on behalf of New York and on behalf of America, to make sure that they get the benefits that they deserve. This is another step in that effort to recognize the accomplishments, the achievements, and the sacrifice of those whose lives have been touched by 9/11. Assemblyman Ray and I have put together a coalition of 60 members of the Assembly, Democrats and Republicans, upstate, downstate, urban, and rural, that are sponsors of this piece of legislation. That's pretty rare that any piece of legislation in the Assembly has not only bipartisan support, but also have 60 members that are willing to sign on the bill. And a lot of that is also due to Ron's advocacy. This legislation is important. As Senator Maltese mentioned, this is not a mandate. This is something that will encourage municipalities around the state to fly this flag. We are not telling anybody they have to. We're not making anybody spend one dime they don't have to spend. But this is something that provides for the encouragement of flying this flag and provides for the respect of those who sacrifice on behalf of this country, on behalf of this state. We are working together with Senator Maltese to try to get this legislation done this year, and we're going to do everything possible, Assemblyman Ray and I, in the Assembly to see that this happens before the end of session. Thank you.
Outstanding. Sometimes they give you the information and we need it, so it's really incredible. What moves my spirit whenever I stand among men is sometimes they just freely, they speak out and they say, this is what we're going to do. And of course, the Honorable Andrew Ray has said, we'll take it to our colleagues. Well, you see the colleagues. These are outstanding people, legislators. Andrew, please step up.
Thank you, Ron. I guess it was about a year ago we held that rally at Battery Park, and I'm from Suffolk County, but I can still remember the days of 9/11. Shortly thereafter, you could see the smoke from my house. That was about 40 miles away from the city. So whenever I got invited to an event to honor all those fallen heroes, I make sure that I get in my car and I make the drive. So little did I know I would meet this gentleman, that his tenacity, his courage,